Yeah, first year, second year format is also one and the same for 60 marks, no? Format for first year, second year is also one and the same. 7 questions and five of them. Same, no? 60 marks. That is wrong.
Hi guys, I hope everyone is back. So I guess we are good to start. Before starting, just one last question: that are we good with the systems? Is there any issues with anybody's system setup? If there is, then we'll first solve that and then we'll move ahead. Yeah. So let's just discuss just first five few minutes about this. If you have any doubts about the session, about any topic or your system installation, stuff like that. Okay, and then we can start with the session. Okay, Mr. Pramod, what is not working on your system? Can you please elaborate?
It is not playing the work, the virtual VMware workstation is not playing.
Okay, can you please share your screen?
Yeah, just scan. Yeah.
Yeah, please share your screen so maybe I can guide you. Yes, Mr. Pramod, are you sharing your screen? Because I'm not able to see on my side. If you are. Okay, anybody else? Any doubts?
Sir, you should first stop, then only I can share.
Actually, it allows you to share, but it's okay. I've anyway stopped my sharing.
Oh, it means I tried to share that it crashed. My system crashed.
No, not an issue.
Sir, are you able to see my system?
Yeah, can you please click on play?
So play. That is,
Okay.
this message is
Okay,
coming.
wait. While the host enter is disabled. It seems your support level monitor of this host. I guess it's not supporting your BIOS version, I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe you can try a different system if possible.
Sir, we'll try.
Yeah. Also, for people who are facing certain issues related to their systems, there is not the best option, but one doable option is something called as this GCP Cloud. Okay, so this is Google Cloud Platform. Okay, so for people who just want to get started or just want to experiment with ROS or want to, do something on a very minimal level and don't have the right PC or laptop, I guess this can be one solution, but I'll again give a disclaimer that you can do just the minimal stuff. Okay, what this is the GCP Cloud, Google Cloud Platform, where you can get a terminal like this and you can install ROS and do the basic ROS stuff via the terminal. I guess this is still in a lot of development phase. They might add pretty much new features now and then. You can also open an editor over here. So a code editor can be also accessible. So this is one option that people can choose from, at least for the starters, I think. Okay, so you have the terminal here, you have the code editor as well. But again, there's a disclaimer, this is not the best solution. This is just if you want to get started. Just like it can do the basic stuff. Okay, with that said, let's move on to our presentations. Also, there is another option provided via AWS, but that's actually a bit expensive option, I guess. But by any chance, if you get the educational license or any sort of educational credits for AWS RoboMaker, you can try that. Okay, because this is like a remote cloud ROS. Okay, and so is this cloud robotics that you say. This is cloud robotics in other words. Okay, so here you can access terminal, you can access the code editor. Okay, that is GCP. And second option is AWS RoboMaker. So if you are able to get the educational credits for this, I would suggest please try this out. This is one of the emerging options and tools in cloud robotics. Okay, so these are the few options. And then now let's study some fundamentals about ROS. Okay. So firstly, we have to create a workspace, or it's actually already been created on your side. So I'll make you understand what is a workspace. A workspace is like your local development. Okay, a workspace supports you for your local development. Okay, now how a workspace is structured, it is in such a file format, for such a file structure. You have your rover underscore workspace. Let's say this is my workspace name. Then I would have 3 other folders. let's say source, build, and development. Okay. Source is a folder where I'll have all my packages. Okay. So all the packages that I create or download from the Git will be inside my source directory. And then you would ask, what is devel and build? So devel and build are system level files. Those are for compiling your dependencies, making CMake files, etc. Okay. We will not interfere with this since these are system level files, and the only thing that we will be interacting is our source. Okay. So now you saw the file structure in a visual format. Let's actually view it. So if you open the files over here, the file manager, and if you open the first thing, so see, this is my workspace. Workspace name is catkin_ws. Open this. Then we again have 3 folders. So if you look, it's pretty much similar, right? See, catkin_ws, then your 3 folders, right? See, 3 folders. And then inside my source, I have my packages. So over here as well, inside source, I have this package called as tortoisebot. Okay. So these are the contents inside a package. So in short, a workspace is something that will support you on the local development. Okay. And inside that, you can create packages. You can create multiple packages. And always remember that your package will always reside inside your source directory. Don't forget that your package will always reside inside your source directory. I hope things are clear until now. Okay. Moving on. Now let's understand something called as publisher and subscriber. Okay. So how ROS works, there are some nodes. Okay. Now these nodes publish certain ROS messages on the topic. Okay. This is a publisher node. It's publishing certain ROS messages on this topic. Now there is another node called a subscriber node who is subscribed to this topic for the ROS messages. Then what is ROS master? ROS master over here is someone who will deal with the essential communications. Okay, so we have a doubt regarding workspace. Okay, please repeat the workspace. Yes, I will do. Okay. So I was saying your workspace is like a local development. Okay. And how is it structured? It's structured in this way. You have your parent level workspace. Okay. That's the top level hierarchy. Then you have your source, build, and devel. Where build and devel are system level files. Now, what is their job? Their job is to take care of the dependencies, build files, etc. What is source? SRC? SRC or source deals with our packages. So any package that we create, any new package that we create, or any package that we download will reside inside SRC. Okay, so all my packages are inside SRC. Is that clear? Okay, so workspace supports your local development, helps you organize your file, helps ROS understand where your files are. Okay, now comes publisher subscriber. Okay, so there is a node that is a publisher that is going to publish ROS messages on the topic. On the other end, there is a node that is a subscriber node. that is going to subscribe to the topic for the messages. And what is ROS master? ROS master is someone who will govern the overall communication that's happening. So everything is registered with the ROS master. So like nodes are registered with ROS master. The topics are also registered with the ROS master. So if your master is closed down, none of the communication will happen. Okay, now let's understand what are nodes. Okay, so nodes are nothing but scripts. Okay, a node can be a Python script, a node can be a C++ script. The only catch here is it should be an executable script. Okay, it can be a Python script, it can be a C++ script, but it should be an executable script. Now, what can be consist of node? A node can be laser, path planning, localization, motor control.
Okay, Nendrana.
Anything. Then comes the question, how do you start a node? You do by ROS run, package name, and the node name. So whatever your package name is, you provide that, and then you pass in the node name. Similarly, we saw something like master. What is master? As I said, master deals with the essential communications of your system. Okay, it registers your nodes, topics, services, etc. To understand master, let's take this example. Let's say you have two reservoirs. Okay, you want to transport water from point A to point B. Now, if you have to do that, you need some sort of channeling, some sort of piping mechanism. That can be PVC pipes or that can be ceramic, whatever, right? You need some sort of channel through which you can transport water from point A to point B. Now, ROS master does something similar. The moment you run the command ROS core, it opens up its TCP ports so that the nodes can communicate. Okay, the moment you run ROS core, it opens up the TCP ports so the nodes can communicate with the topics and the whole system can have a communication. There is where your ROS master comes in. Okay, is this clear? Or it was total confusion? If it is, let me know, I'll try to reiterate. Okay, to understand our publisher subscriber, let's take this example. Okay, let's say YouTube. I guess everybody is aware about YouTube, right? So let's say YouTube is our ROS master. Okay, YouTube is your ROS master. Then there is this channel, YouTube channel called T-Series. Okay, T-Series, right? So T-Series is also a channel that is registered with the master. So your topic is basically T-Series. Now there is another publisher account that is uploading music on T-Series. So your music upload account is your publisher node. And you have a user who also has an account who is also registered with YouTube. So the user account is your subscriber node. Okay, so now what is happening over here? Your YouTube registers the uploader account, the channel, as well as the user account, right? Everything is registered with YouTube. So if YouTube is down, none of this will be accessible. And let's say the user wants certain music, the user won't directly contact to the uploader. The user will contact to T-Series channel. And the user will upload it on the T-Series channel. So the moment music is uploaded or published on T-Series channel, YouTube channel, user will receive a notification. Or basically user can then access those songs. And that is how your publisher subscriber actually work. There is a publisher that is publishing ROS messages on a topic. And on the other end, there is a subscriber node that is subscribed to the topic for the messages. Is this clear, everyone? Yes? Any doubts? Kindly repeat how we create. Yes, we'll get to the point. Once we start working on the code, we'll get to the point how to create a workspace as well. Okay, so until then, guys, try to come up with another example that will state this situation. Okay, because if you guys can come up with an example, which means you have thoroughly understood the topic. Okay, so one example can be, let's say, the workshop that we are conducting, that is the ROS master. Okay, Google Meet is the topic. I am the publisher. You guys are subscriber. So you guys are subscribed to Google Meet. I am publishing my knowledge on Google Meet. Hence, you are receiving. So if the workshop never happens, all three of us wouldn't register with the workshop. In terms of me publishing the data, in terms of you guys consuming the data, etc. Or another example can be school. So let's say school is your ROS master. Okay, so teachers publish their knowledge in the classroom. So classroom can be the topic, and students consume the knowledge in the classroom. So classroom is the topic, student is the subscriber node, and teacher is the publisher node. Okay, so this is a very fundamental topic in ROS. If you understand this, you can say you are no more a beginner in ROS, frankly speaking. So after this point, we'll start writing code that how this mechanism will convert into code. So have a good look, try understanding the topic. Let me know if you have any doubts, then we'll move ahead if there are no doubts. Okay, so now let's get to the point how to create actually a workspace. So these are the commands that will help you create the workspace. Again, this is the same link, okay, that we were discussing since the last two sessions. So I have just added beneath that. So this is your NES and Python basics. Then comes creating a workspace. Okay, so I have mentioned that over here as well. So if somebody wants to create a workspace in future, you can follow this command to simply create a workspace. Okay. Once quickly, I'll show you how to create another workspace. Like I'll create a dummy workspace basically. So what I'll do is I'll just open this terminal. Okay, and nothing, I'll just copy paste. And if you remember, you'll remember the Linux basics that we studied in the previous session. You'll understand mkdir. Remember, mkdir means creating a directory. CD means change directory, navigating inside a directory. Then comes catkin, initializing a workspace. Okay, that's a command again. And then finally catkin make. And then this statement represents sourcing your environment. Now, what I mean by that is your Ubuntu should be aware about where your workspace is, right? Your Ubuntu needs to be aware of where your workspace is. Hence, we do this. So doing so, it will add things in the bash RC, and your Ubuntu is now aware about the workspace path. Because see, anytime you run a ROS command or anytime you run a ROS node, your nodes would be stored inside your workspace. Now, if your system is not aware about the exact location of your nodes, how will it execute? It can't. Hence, we do this. Okay, so I'll just copy this, and instead of giving catkin, I'll do, let's say, dummy workspace. Okay, I hope this is visible. Dummy workspace. Okay, now if I do ls, see, I have a dummy workspace over here. Now moving on, I'll do cd dummy workspace, and I'll do again mkdir src. Okay, so what we did, we are just creating directory inside directory. Okay, so mkdir first directory was dummy workspace, then comes src. Now inside src, we'll navigate inside src. So I'll do cd src, and now we are inside src, right? Over here, we will execute this command, catkin initialize workspace. So even if you just keep following one after the other, you will still create a workspace. So what is this command? This command is basically initializing the concept of a workspace inside your src. That's done. Now we'll go outside. I mean outside as in one directory outside. Okay, so see, we were previously in src. Now we are in dummy workspace. And from here, we'll run a command called as catkin_make. Now, what does this command do? This command will compile your workspace. Compile as in it will check against all the dependencies, if there is a deprecating package, etc. Okay, that will be done via this command, catkin_make. And yeah, that is how you can create a workspace. Any doubts? Okay, now let's move ahead onto how to create a package. Now regarding creating a package as well, I will be updating over here on the same repo. Sorry, on the same document. Okay, so if you just have this document, this can act as a nice cheat sheet for you. So you can revise and refer this whenever you want. So I'll just add another segment over here that says creating packages. Yeah, so I'll keep updating this. Okay, in the meanwhile, we can quickly create a package. So again, where does all our packages reside? Our packages can reside inside src. So open src and right click terminal. So what is our current directory? Our current directory is src, right? So I'll create a package over here. So I'll do catkin create, and let's say name it test underscore pkg. Now, whenever you name a package, remember there are some naming conventions to be followed. So what are the naming conventions? Like, you can't use capital letters or integers or numbers. Okay, you can't have spaces, you can use underscore, and that's the only naming convention. So no capital letters at the beginning, no numbers, no spaces. You can separate the words with underscore. So my first package name is test package, enter. So I have a package, right? So what is inside my package? I have two things inside my package. One is CMake list, another one is package.xml. Now what is CMake list? CMake list is nothing but a bunch of commands, okay, that your packages will respect. Like it's similar to compiler. It's like an instruction list of how a package should work. Okay, and when is this CMake list compiled? When you run catkin make from here. Okay, if you run catkin make from here, it will compile the packages and make sure it's done and there is no error. Okay, so basically what it's doing, it's compiling the instructions that are mentioned in this. That's it. That's the job of your CMake list. Then what's the use of package.xml? Package.xml is something like a readme. It's like more information about your package. So here we have the version number, we have the package name, we have the description, we have the maintainer's email. If there is any license or any sort of information that is important for this package will be mentioned over here. So it's like a readme, it's like a bio. Okay, it's like more information about your package. Okay, I hope things are good until now. Any doubts? Anything you want me to go over again? Okay, I hope things are good then. Cool, let's move ahead. So let's create a folder over here. So how do we create a folder? mkdir. Okay, no, first I need to navigate inside my catkin, then source, then test package. Okay, now mkdir, and then let's say scripts. Okay, let's say that's my first folder. Zoom a bit. Sure, I will. I hope this is visible. Or maybe I can. Yep, is this visible? If this is small as well, please let me know. Okay, so what we did, mkdir, and then we created a scripts folder. Now inside this, I will go cd scripts. Okay. Now inside scripts, I'll create two Python files. One will be let's continue with the same example, that is this one, YouTube. Okay, so YouTube, T-series, music upload, and user. Okay, let's continue with that example and let's build around it. So let's say our first publisher node will be music upload .py. Okay, so this is a file, so I'll do touch. Okay, so we have one. If I do lsc, I have one Python file. Let's say another one will be user.py. Okay, so I have two Python scripts. But if you remember what I said is, about how the nodes are. So nodes are executable, right? What are executable? Nodes. Nodes, that is scripts. So these are normal Python scripts. These need to be executable scripts. Okay, these are normal Python scripts. These need to be executable. So how do you make them executable? You run this command chmod plus x, and then you pass the file script name. Okay, so one is music upload and one is user.py. Okay, I hope this is visible. Yeah, one is music upload and one is user.py. Now, if I press enter and I do ls, you'll see these scripts are now green in color. So what does that represent? That's representing us that these two scripts are not normal scripts, these are executable scripts. Now the color is a visual representation because previously they were white in color, now they are green in color. Okay, so just a quick recap. What we did, we created a package called test package. Okay, then we created a directory called scripts. Inside that directory, I created two Python scripts, musicupload.py and user.py. Then I made them executable. That's it. Okay, so now let's open Sublime Text over here. And first we'll write our publisher. So who is our publisher? A publisher is music upload, right? Music upload is a node that is publishing data on the channel, basically. Okay. So firstly, we need to provide what Python version we are using. So we are using Python 2. Then we shall import certain dependencies. Okay. So we have imported ROSPy. So ROSPy, wait, let me just increase the font. Yep, I hope this is visible, guys. Okay. Yeah, so I was saying ROSPy is a library that helps us write Python code in ROS. Then we have standard messages. Standard messages is again a package. From that, we'll import string. Now, what is string? String is a ROS message type. You remember I was speaking about data types, right? What are data types? Those are basically vessels where you can store a certain amount of data. Similarly, message type is very equivalent to data types. In ROS, since we are sending ROS messages in a string format, hence we are importing string. If we were sending integers, I would have included int 64. If there was float data, I would include float 64. Now you would say, how do I know about this? Well, even you guys can know it. So just open your file manager, go to other locations, open file manager, go to other locations. Inside that, go to computer and go to OPT. Now, what is this location? This is where your ROS is installed. This is the root location where your ROS is installed. Inside this, inside Melodic, and click on this folder share. And here, if I search std messages, standard messages, and go inside messages, here I have all the data. See, we are using string. And as I said, you can use int 64, you can use time, you can use Boolean. As a type, data type, message type, you can use float 64, etc. Okay, so there are a bunch of other message types, ROS message types that you can use. Moving on. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll create a Python function. Okay, let's create a Python function called upload. Okay, and let's keep it music upload. Okay, then we'll initialize the node. So we'll do rospy dot init underscore node, and this will take two inputs or two parameters. So one parameter is the node. So one is your music upload. So this is the node name. Again, whenever you're naming the node, make sure it starts with a small case letter. Okay, you should not use any capital letters at the beginning or any numbers. Also, don't give space. You can separate them via underscore or using camel case like this. Okay, so as I said, these takes two parameters. One is the name, another one is called as anonymous. Okay, now what is anonymous? Anonymous is an argument that will help or that will tell your system whether or not there can be one or more than one node with similar name. Now since we have provided anonymous equals to true, which means there can be more than one node with similar name. But let's say this is false. Okay, let's say this is false. So now there can be only and only one music upload node in the whole ecosystem. You can't run two nodes with similar name because anonymous equals to false. But let's keep it true so we can have more than one nodes existing in the same system with similar names. Okay, so this line is to initialize the node. Okay, this will initialize the node. Let's move ahead. Now what's next? Next, we'll create a variable called pub. Okay, now this pub variable will store all our information regarding the topic. So we'll do rospy dot publisher, and then I'll pass in the topic name. So our topic name is T series. Yes, and we'll pass in the string data type, and lastly we'll pass queue size. Let's keep it 20. Okay, so T series is the topic name, string is the message type. So we are specifying that string is the message type that we are passing on this topic, and queue size. Now what is queue size? Queue size helps your subscriber receive data in a synchronous format. Queue size helps your subscriber to receive data in a synchronous format. Basically, what this integer means, it will queue the last 20 messages that needs to be collected or that needs to be received via the subscriber node. Okay, so it will be stacked in a queue that is basically going one after the other. So instead of receiving data in a asynchronous manner, they will receive data in a synchronous format. Hence the queue size. The queue size will store last 20 messages in a queue if in case there is a delay from the subscriber. Any doubts until now?
No, sir.
Okay, let's move ahead. Okay, so we have initialized the node, we have provided the topic details. Now we'll provide the rate. Create a variable rate, and we'll do rospi dot rate, and we'll give, let's say, 10. So what is this? This is units is hertz. Okay. Now this rate represents the rate of publishing a message, and 10 means 10 hertz. That is 10 times in a second. So basically you can pass 10 messages in a second. So if I make this 1, what's the rate now? How many messages per second? 1 single message per second. If it's 100, which means 100 messages every second. Okay, so let's stick to 10. Okay, so this will take care of the rate of publication, rate of publishing of messages on a topic. Then moving ahead, now we'll add a loop, a while loop. Okay, where we are saying that if or unless and until I don't close my rospi, keep the loop running. So it's like an infinite loop. Unless and until I don't deliberately close the rospi node, it will keep the node running. Okay, so let's say create a variable called music publish. Okay, this is a variable called music publish. Now music published will be the actual message carrier, where we can store the actual message. Let's say the messages let's say messages published a new music video. Okay, let's say this is the message. Now we need to publish this message. So for publishing, we'll use this variable pub over here dot the publish function. Now why are we using pub over here? Because publish has the topic details, hence pub over here along with the publish function. Now, okay, spelling mistake, publish, yeah. So the publish function. Along with that, we pass in music published variable. Now why do we need music published variable? Because this is the variable that's actually carrying the message. And lastly, we need rate.sleep. Okay, now what is the sleep function? And rate is basically this rate. So the sleep function will calculate the delay required between two messages, two single messages, the delay required between two single messages via your rate variable. And lastly, we'll add a rospi.log info. Now what is this? Log info is very similar to a print statement. It's like a sanity check. Okay, sanity check whether your publisher is working fine or not. Hence, we just pass in the same variable that's holding the message. See, this statement is responsible to publish on the topic, and this statement is responsible to publish on the terminal. Now, why do we need it on the terminal? Just so that we can make check of it that okay, everything is working right, in that sense. And now lastly, we'll just call the function. So what's a function name? Our function name is music upload, right? So I'll just call it over here, close parentheses, done. This is your publisher node. That's it. This is your publisher node. So any doubts? Any doubts on the publisher node? Okay, now let's try to run this. So to run this, what is the command? The command is ROS run. I hope this is visible. ROS run. Then we need the package name. What is the package name? The package name is test pkg. And then we provide the node name. What is the node name? That is music upload.py. So if I run this, and if everything is right, okay, wait. Before that, yeah. See, what does it say? It says cannot register with the master. And how do we start our master? By running ROS core. If you remember, I spoke about something called as ROS master. What is ROS master? ROS master is someone who is essential for all the communication. Now, since my master is not running, my node can never communicate with the topic. Hence, I need to first start my ROS core. That is my ROS master. So I'll press enter, and this will start my ROS master. Yes, I hope you guys can see my screen. Yeah, so see, the moment I run ROS core, my master is up and running. Okay, so see, it says melodic 1.1, 14.11. Okay, master has been started. Now I'll open a new tab. Okay, this is my master tab, a ROS core tab. Over here on this tab, what I'll do is ROS run, and then package name, that is the test package, and then music upload.py. And it has started to print. See, this is continuously printing. This is, publishing. This is 10 messages every second. So any doubts on the publisher? Okay, I hope things are clear. So see, now if I alter the rate as well, and let's say I press Ctrl C and I'll rerun this. It's been publishing, but with a very slow rate. That is one message every second. Let's make it 10 again. Okay. I'll close this node. How to close it? Control C. Just press Control C. It will close. Any doubts on the publisher node? Okay. I hope things are clear. Let's move.
Sir, please tell how you have run it. Please tell once again, sir.
Yeah, I'll show. So for that, I'll do ROS run. Okay, that's the base command. Then we provide the package name, that is test underscore pkg. That's my package name. Okay, I've created a package called test package, hence I'm providing this name. Then I'll provide my script name or my node name, that is music upload.py. Right, this is my node name, and then you just press enter. So see, what are you providing? You're saying ROS run, that's the base command. Then you say inside this package, look for this node. Okay, you're saying inside this package, look for this node and run the node and execute the node. That's it. So if you'll see one another thing, yeah, what it's saying over here is user warning. T series is not a legal ROS graph name, which means the naming conventions. You remember I told you we can't use capital letters or spaces. This is why it is. So if I change this to a smaller t and I keep no space, and now if I run it, I won't get that warning. See, now there is no warning. See, it's straight away running. So these are some name conventions you need to make sure you're right about. Okay, before moving to a subscriber node, any doubts?
Sir, is the same command or we are having any other command to download the packages, sir? What you have executed now?
So let's say, so you're asking, is there a way to download packages?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Same.
so there are two ways to download packages. One can be your sudo apt get, or second one would be git. Okay, so you can download packages from GitHub and make sure you keep all your packages inside your SRC.
Okay.
Or, so let's say I want to download a package called as sudo apt. So what is sudo? Sudo is the administrative access, right? Apt is the package manager. Then you provide the action you want to do. So let's say I want to give it an install command. So I'll provide install, and then let's say a package called as publisher GUI. So firstly, I need to provide the version that I'm using. So let's say I'm using Melodic. Inside Melodic, first I need to provide it's a ROS package.
Okay.
Yeah, so the command goes sudo apt get install ROS Melodic, and let's say ROS Melodic and teleop. Okay, then the package name. So the package name is teleop twist keyboard, right? So this is how you can install. If you'll see what's happening, sudo, that's your admin permissions, apt get, that's your package manager, then the action you want to do, and then the actual package name. That is your ROS, then the distribution, and then the package name. This is how you can install. Now,
Fine, sir.
yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So this is how you can install via Debian. If you want to go via Git, what you can do, you can just clone the repository inside this. So you can just go git clone and then whatever the link you have for your repository.
Okay, fine.
moving ahead, let's start with our subscriber node. So for subscriber node, these things are common. So I'll just copy it from here. I'll paste it over here. And the first thing we write is a callback function. So what is a callback function? Callback is like someone, it's just a random variable name, okay? There is no strict warning that you should have callback name itself. You can have anything. You can have get data as well. Okay, it's because that's its job. Its job is to get the data, right? And let's say music video is the variable that we create. Okay, so what we can do rospy dot log info, and we can print on the terminal that I watched the, and it can be like music video dot data. Okay, so this is where your actual data is being stored. What is the data? The data that we are fetching from the topic. So anything that is published by a publisher will be stored in this variable and we can pass it on. Okay, so let's create another function that will deal with a subscriber. So let's say user. Okay, so as always, we'll just rospy initialize node with the node name user and anonymous, let's keep it true. Then we'll do rospy dot subscriber. Okay, what the subscriber function will have, it will have the topic name. So it's T series. Yeah, T series. Next, it will have the data type string, and here we'll get the get data function. That is this. Why? Because this function has the data. And lastly, we'll add something called as rospy dot spin. And then we'll just call the function. That's it. That's it. This is your subscriber. Now, the only new thing over here is line number 13. That is rospy.spin. And you would ask, what is rospy.spin? Well, it's a function that is acting as an infinite loop. Why we need that? If you see in your subscriber, there is no loop. There is nothing to loop around, right? Hence, we need to add rospy.spin, which will keep this node active. Now, why do we require this node active? Because it is listening to the topic. In other words, the rospy.spin function basically says to the code that, hey, look, don't kill yourself, don't get executed, because we are expecting some data from the topic. And since there is a loop over here, which is an infinite loop, we don't need to add rospy.spin over here. But here, there is no loop to keep it up and running. Okay. So let's quickly run our, I'll make this full screen. I'll split the data, terminals. Okay. Now on the left hand side, I will run my publisher. So that is rosrun, package name, and the node name, okay, which is running fine. On the right hand side, I'll run my subscriber. That is rosrun, package name, and this time I'll run the user.pack. So what it says, I watched publish new video. So this data, the published new video, is coming from the topic, and I watched is something I have added just to make some relevancy. And here we can use another thing called as RQT graph. Okay, so we can do rosrun RQT graph and then RQT graph. and there you go. So you also have an RQT graph that says your music upload is a publisher that is publishing to T series topic and subscribed by this user node. So yeah, any doubts until now? Yes, guys, any doubts on the publisher side, on the subscriber side, anything? Okay.
Sir, please show me the subscriber side code once.
Yeah. This is the subscriber code.
Sir, suppose if publisher is disconnected or we have stopped the sending publisher data, so subscriber will automatically held down.
Yeah. So see, let's I'm executing. I'm closing my publisher node. Now there is no new data on this. If you look, see,
Yes,
it is
sir.
stopped. It is halted over there. But let's say I restart my publisher again. It started again. If I again do that, it will stop. So
For keyboard stop can be there, no, sir?
yeah.
Any
Control C.
hazard or any stuck.
Yeah, that is like a feedback loop that you add to your code. So like, let's say your robot is moving, okay, and let's say there is a roadblock or there is no way to move around. So you can add a feedback loop. Like if anything like this happens, it will just prompt on the terminal or some sort of feedback that says, hey, please have a look to the robot. There is no space to move or something like that. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, guys, I hope this is clear. Let's move to our last topic of the day. So that is something called as total sum. Okay, so in one terminal, what I'll do ROS run. I'll run the package name total sim and the node name is total sim node. What this will open a small window like this. This is a 2D simulator. This is a 2D simulator where you can experiment with the ROS codes. Okay, so there is another node. Let's make this always on top. There's another node called as ROS run turtle sim and turtle teleop key. Okay, what this node will do? This node will help us control the turtle using our arrow keys. So right now I'm controlling the turtle using my arrow keys. So see, whatever I'm doing, I'm doing because I'm able to control the turtle with my arrow keys. Now, any idea how can we write a node that can control the total? Anyone in the crowd wants to take a guess?
Sir, some kind of root algorithm or path formula or automatic path finding algorithm we can apply.
Okay. Fine. So I'll also show you the RQT graph, so you'll understand how the data is moving around. Okay. Graph. Okay, so see, this is the RQT graph. So what we can see, the teleop turtle node, that is the right hand side, this one is the teleop turtle node, is publishing some data on the topic turtle1 command velocity, right? And there is another node called as turtle sim, that is your left hand side node, that is subscribed to it. Okay, now we got to know that there is some data being published on this specific topic. But how do we know what that data is? For that, let's keep this graph over here so we have a continuous look at it. Okay, yeah, and let's get this over here and I'll split this. Okay, now how do you understand what is the data? For that, we can do something like ROS topic echo and the topic name. So what is the topic name? It's turtle1 command velocity. Okay, now if I press any of the keys, you will see the moment I turned left, it provided a angular velocity. The moment I go forward, it's providing a linear velocity. So we got to know one thing: if we are going forward or backward, it's giving linear velocity. If we are turning left or right, it's giving angular velocity respectively, right? So we got to know this is what they are sending. That's for clear. Now our next job is, what is the message type? For that, what we can do is we can do ROS topic info slash the topic name. So we can get more info about the topic. So we get to know that they are using a message type called geometric twist messages. Geometric twist message. Okay, the message type is geometric twist message. Then the publisher. So one is the publisher node, another one is the subscriber node. Right? That's there. So now if we want to write a node that will control this turtle, or control as in move this turtle, we need to publish geometric twist messages on this topic. Is that clear? If we want to move this turtle via a node, we need to provide geometric twist message type on this topic turtle1 command velocity. Any doubts on that? So now the question is, how do we do that? Well, we already have a publisher node. So I'll open my publisher node, and in this, I'll comment.
Excuse me, sir. One
Yeah.
second.
Yeah.
So, just can you explain the RQT graph checkbox like leap topics, debug, and unreachable? What is the meaning of this menu bar on top side, like dead syncs, leap topics, debug, unreachable?
Oh, these are just parameters that help you analyze your graph. So let's say I want only nodes to be seen. You will see only the nodes is highlighted. See, the topic is not highlighted now. Only the nodes are highlighted with the oval shape. If I do all topics, all nodes. See, even this gets a box.
Okay.
Okay. So
And
these are,
is there any specific meaning of this lead topics and debug?
yeah, that is, let's say if you want to get more information on your graph for that. So let's say I turn off my debug. See. So these things are not required, where your RQT GUI is there, your ROS out is there, your ROS out node is there. All 1, 2, 3, these are related to extra information, right? Are you interested in this extra information? Then you can use this. If not, then you can just click on debug and just get to the main point. Now, to explain what ROS out is like the log function. It keeps the logs of all the system of what's happening.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah. So if you're interested in this, make sure you check the debug. If not, you can have the meat of the topic.
And the same for that parameter, that params
Yes.
is just stand
Yes.
for parameter.
Same. That's the thing, right? What level of visualization do you want? That's what it is all about. If I'm just interested into these few things, then I'm good to go. But let's say there is something else that's happening. I need to figure out why the system is slow, or why the XYZ thing is slowing down, or is there any blocker prior to that or after that? Then I can go and start debugging in that way. It's
Okay,
all
thank
on your requirement. Yeah. Okay, so as discussed, let's write a node that will move our turtle. So I'll comment this, but I'll copy this part because we'll need the exact same statement. Just few changes. So here we'll pass the topic name. So the topic name is turtle1/command well, if I'm not wrong. Then the message type will be twist, right? Also, we need to import it. So from geometry messages, I will import twist. Okay. So I've done the import part. This is done. Now, instead of this, what we need to write, we need to pass the linear and angular velocity, if you guys remember. But for that, let me create a variable called velocity, or let's name it v equals to twist. Okay, so this will store all the data v, and we can just write a syntax like v dot linear. Okay, and along x-axis, let's say we provide 3 radians per second. 3 meter per second. So this is meter per second, guys. Okay, meter per second, and v dot angular along z-axis equals to, can be 2 radians per second. Okay, so the angular velocities are radians in second and linear velocities meter per second. And that's it. I guess this is the only change we need to do. The rest is going to remain the same. So what are the changes? We added the dependency. We make sure we are publishing on the right topic with the right message. We made sure we are giving out the right message as well. Also, instead of music, this would be V. Why? Because V is the one who is carrying our message, and here V as well. Now we can provide Y equals to 0 as well. Okay, so I can do Control C, and we can do this X, Y, and Z 0. But if you're not providing anything, by default it's 0. Okay, see, by default it is going to be 0. So if we don't provide, it's fine. Okay, now let's run the node. But for that, we need to make sure this node is running. We also need to make sure Yeah, rest of it is running. Yes, perfect. Now, if I do, I'll also get the graph. Perfect. Okay. Now, if I do ROS run music, no, sorry, what's my package name? Yeah, package name is test package, and music upload.py is the script name. Enter. And see, it is now moving in a continuous circle. And if I update my graph, so I can update my graph using this reload function. There is a node called as music upload that is publishing onto the topic turtle1 command velocity. And what is the data? This is the data. See, 3 and 2, linear 3 meter per second, angular 2 radians per second. And that's how you can write a node to control your turtle. See, I can also control it with my arrow keys. Huh? See, the moment I start interfering my arrow key, my turtle is deviating. See, so that's the thing. This is how you can write a node to control your turtle. Any doubts?
Sir, is there any way to so that we can check that which node is currently passing the data to topic?
Sorry. Can you repeat that?
Can I check that which node is passing the data to the topic?
Yes, you can. So what you can do, which node? See now, your music upload node is passing or is publishing geometric twist messages on this topic.
Okay. The same time when you are using your keyboard, that means that color of tealope turtle is changed. I think so.
No, I mean,
So how we will check it that, because right now it is just moving in a circle by using that angular velocity as well as the
Right.
linear velocity.
acha, I'll give you another way to look at it. So what we can do, we can echo the topic, right? So if I do ROS topic echo slash turtle1 command velocity. Okay. So now what it is publishing 3 and 2, right? This is coming from my node that I just made. But if I press forward arrow, see the value is changing. Do you see? It's becoming 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. It's continuously updating. So it's
Okay.
hard to detect to that. So see, if I go on the other direction, it's getting -2 on the angular velocity.
Okay. Is there any way to just check that data on through the RQT graph?
No, you can't check the data. You can check the flow of it.
Okay.
For that, you need to do something like this. So that will print out. See, this is continuously actually printing my data. You can't see because it's the same data.
No issue. I'm just the confusion is related to the RQT graph.
Yeah. No. RQT graph responsible for just telling you the flow, the compute flow.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any doubts until now, guys? And this is how you can actually use publisher subscriber. Like this is the actual application in this way, not this, but in this way you can actually utilize. I hope things are making sense. If not, please give it a try. Once or twice, it will make more sense. Yeah. Yes. Any doubts? So in this way, you can create different shapes as well. Okay. So if I close everything, let's close. And if I like first give, let's say 0, and let's say I want to create a square, what I can say, then go forward, right? Take 0 and take this, let's say 2. So what is happening? I'll tell you. See, this segment will go forward. Okay. This part of the code will rotate. So this is like going forward, rotating. Like just imagine, how would you draw a square? What you need to go forward 90 degrees, forward 90 degrees, forward 90 degrees, right? This is how you can create shapes. Now, what is 90 degree in radians? Can anybody tell me?
Pi by 2.
Yeah, so either you can use the math library pi by 2, or you can use the actual float value, that is, I guess, 1.57 if I'm not wrong. Okay. Yeah, and if we are publishing two different things, we need to actually publish two different things. Yeah, so this segment will publish the forward velocity, and this block of code will publish the rotation part. Okay, so now if we run this, possibly we should get a square. I'll run this, I'll run the RQT graph as well. Let's keep it always on top. Always on top. See, right now I just have one node, so it's just showing me one node. Okay, the moment I start this and I refresh, I have another node. That is my turtle sim. And if I start this node, that is my node that will create a square. And if I refresh, I have this. Okay, so what's happening? It's going forward. Okay, I know what is happening. Wait. If we reduce it to 1, hopefully we should get the desired output. Yep. There you go. So in this way, you can actually use publisher subscriber. Any doubts? Yes, any doubts? And by the way, yeah, this is where we can conclude our session. But before that, if you guys have any doubts, anything to discuss.
Sir, one thing, let me show. Sir, you are doing all this ROS operating system and this this using in your Windows system using VMware, na sir?
Yeah, see, this is my VMware and this is my Windows system over here.
This is a Windows operating system in which
Yeah.
you are doing all this thing
Yes, yes.
using VMware workstation.
Yes, yes.
Oh, sir, how much installation package size is VMware workstation?
VMware workstation is not that big, I guess. It's, I guess.
Means sir, speed cannot be affected na if RAM size is limited 4 or 8 GB RAM. we have.
8 GB is minimum, I would suggest.
It is sufficient na 8 GB RAM?
It's, yeah, recommended. It's to get started. Good
Speed,
if you have 8 GBs.
interfacing and all this thing.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
The best option is dual boot, but since everybody or every laptop can't be dual boot at this moment, hence we went with a VMware solution. Okay, so we can quickly get started. And as I told you, there are other options like AWS RoboMaker, GCP. You can also experiment that. Now, if you have access or if you get access to some educational credits, which mostly a lot of people can get access to, if you get that, you can use those credits to try out cloud robotics as well.
Sir, we can do this all this simulation operation using Raspberry Pi, Pi
Yes.
3 or Pi 4.
Yes. In fact, we have a robot called Tortoise Bot. Okay, let me show you. Yeah, we have this. We have built this robot called Tortoise Bot, and if you look at the components, we are using a Raspberry Pi 4.
Yes, sir, I have seen this package of 15,000 package,
Yeah.
na? 16,000.
16. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Sir, how much time you take to deliver and for demonstrating online?
So if you like, it actually depends on the shipment. So the fastest we have gone is 3 days, but it also depends on what location
Sir,
you're.
yes, sir. Sir, in this workshop, we are doing some kind of these interfacing and robotics.
Yeah.
Yes, experimental.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you. Sir.
So it's like you can learn over here. If you want to implement, you can get this. We have Discord community support where you can ask all your questions. So I can show you that as well. Just a second. So if you have any doubts regarding ROS, regarding Tortoise Bot, you can get onto our Discord. So here we have our Tortoise Bot channel. Here we have our ROS help channel, right? So yeah, that's there. So you can ask questions, the community will help you and guide you. Yes. Okay, there is a question called, sir, will the same principle work with drone SLAM? Yes, exactly. The same principle will work for drones, for SLAM, anything. See guys, this is ROS. Okay, this is the fundamental of ROS. There is something like a publisher who is publishing on a topic. There is another node subscribed to it. And this is what happens. It may be drone, it may be robotic arm, it may be mobile robots, anything it is. That's the reason I said, if you know this, you are no more a beginner in ROS. Do we get a quotation for the Tortoise Bot? Yes, you can get. Just visit our website. There is this thing. Either you can order now. If you click on order now, it will take you to the page, or you can contact us if you want some customization or if you want some custom orders. So either you can directly order the existing one, or let's say there are other requirements. We have our contact support over here. So yeah, that's it.
The
Yes,
tortoise bot, is it a self-balancing robot?
That's not a self-balancing, it's a two-wheel robot attached with a caster for the balancing part. But yeah, the capabilities, if you're looking what it can do mapping, navigation, there are computer vision enabled things you can do, there is teleoperations. So either you can use the existing things and build on top of that, or you can build something of your own from scratch as well. So anyway, whichever. Let's say you're planning for some computer vision based navigation. So we provide navigation, we provide the basic image processing, and you can combine and build on top of that. So even that's possible. And we have,
Cost is 16,000 rupees.
yeah,
Okay.
that's there. Yeah, we also have a video if you guys are interested. You can watch this on YouTube. I'm not sure if this is playing. Can you guys see this? Yeah. Yeah. Any doubts? Yeah. So you can do a bunch of things like keyboard control. You can do a joystick control as well. If you have a joystick, there is a camera enabled on the computer, so you'll have the FPV view as well. Then you can do mapping, as you can see, it's mapping. Then you can do autonomous navigation. and bunch of other things. So we are continuously updating this. Recently, we are pushing the Noetic update as well. So that is something the team is working on. Soon you'll get a Noetic support for this as well. Then we are also switching to ROS 2 and a lot of other things. Please share the link of the YouTube channel. Yes, the YouTube channel link, I guess it's just, yeah, this thing. And I'll also show you the GitHub for the same. We have a nicely maintained documentation as well. So let's say you decided to build on yourself, on your own, just click on Wiki and you'll get a detailed documentation on how it is. Right from getting started to hardware assembly, to TortoiseBot setup, server PC, running the demos, etc. And as I said, we are continuously improving and updating this. So currently we are working on Noetic. Soon we'll provide support for ROS 2 and a bunch of other applications. Yeah, I'll share this as well if somebody is interested. Yeah, that's it, guys. If you have any doubts, if you have any queries, please let me know, or else we are good to conclude. I hope you guys had quite an insightful day. Okay, hope you guys had a lot of knowledge gaining from my end. And do you provide robots, Kara? No. But if you want, like, we can arrange something, because we are also working on the robotic arm side. So if you have anything around that we can help with, do let us know. Okay, we have worked on robotic arm. In fact, we are soon also launching our own small robotic arm that people can get started, similar to mobile robots. So if there's anything around that segment that you think we can help, do let us know. Yeah, I think we are good to conclude. Any of the coordinators over here? Just a second, I guess this is the last question. Yes, Tushar, which type, as in, what do you mean by that? Yeah, so you can contact me at nandi@rigbeetlelabs.com, or if you want to contact our team, you can just go to rigbeetlelabs.com and etc. So you can get a form, or you can get a number from there itself. Tushar, I'm sorry, but I didn't get your question. Which type, articulated, etc. I didn't get it. So are you speaking in terms of robotic arm? Or is it? Yeah. So the robotic arm is, again, it's going to be very similar to getting started kit. Okay, like if you look at TortoiseBot, right? What is it? It's a mobile robot that anyone who wants to get started with ROS can use it, right? Or someone who has basic knowledge but wants to build on top of that can use it. On similar grounds, we are doing work on the robotic arm as well. So
Sir,
yeah.
any specific software which is used for designing purpose, that all the artifacts?
Yeah, so we majorly use Fusion 360 on our side, but there is SolidWorks also an option. But I think from a personal point of view, Fusion 360 is better. And we over here at Rigbeetle Labs as well, we actively use Fusion 360. So if you're asking my opinion, I would suggest Fusion 360.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Prateek or any other coordinator over here can guide us further. How shall we conclude?
What are the names of software? Fusion 3 and what you tell, sir?
I'll mention.
Please write it, sir. Write it.
Yeah. Fusion 360 is the one that we recommend. Fusion 360 is a CAD modeling software. Anyway, you guys are going to use that in the upcoming sessions. Okay. So you'll pretty much get a hands-on that as well.
Sir, for Raspberry Pi practitioner and IoT practitioner, which what is the route for learning this thing and track? This is a track, sir, using Turtlebot or
Tortoisebot. Yeah, it is, because see, what we are aiming to is to give robotics or get an entry. The barrier to entry is reduced, right? And we are trying the same. We want to reduce the entry barrier. So by doing so, I think that's helpful. So if you want to get into IoT, if you want to work core on Raspberry Pi, you can. In fact, one of our customers has bought Tortoisebot and implemented Jetson Nano with it.
yes,
I
sir, yes.
don't have the video, I guess, or if I have, just a second. I'll
No, sir,
show
this
that.
is a very good platform and right track for get hands-on in robotics. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So actually, just a second, I'll try to find that video. Yeah, there it is. So if you look at this, this is Akshat Marathe. He has also been in our mentorship program. Plus, he has also bought the Tortoisebot. So he has built like this. So he has placed a Jetson Nano along with remote control, joystick basically. So people are experimenting in this way as well. So that's what I said. It's like a platform, and it's your knowledge, whether you want to grow your knowledge or whether you want to build an application out of it. It's your take. So yeah. Hope you guys liked this session. Hope it was quite insightful. And yeah, that's it from my side. Pratik, are you there? Shall we conclude, or is there something else, like another session or something? Okay, until Pratik is here, if you guys have any other doubts, I mean, we can answer that.
Sir, can I leave the session?
Yeah, I'm actually waiting for the coordinators. So, I mean, I'm clueless. I think yes, because on the schedule I don't see anything post 4. Yeah, hi. Anyone in the coordinators team? Someone who can help us? I don't think so. Then there's just.
I think there is a no session.
Yeah, there is
brother,
no
so
session. Okay. Cool. Okay, guys. Thank you. So from tomorrow, I guess you'll start your day 2. There will be a different mentor, and all the best for rest of these days. Okay. So,
thank you
bye,
so
guys.
much.
Okay, guys. I think we can continue. Bye.
So good evening, everyone. Thank you once again for joining the ADAL FTP. The recorded sessions as well as the feedback will be shared with you. So tomorrow the session will start according to the schedule. So please, 15 minutes prior to the session, the link will be available in the WhatsApp group. So thank you all. Have a good day. Thank you.